When markets move, Stephen E. Orr takes the chair. From the White House to Wall Street, he's spent decades at the intersection of policy, markets, and real capital. And he's seen firsthand how institutions use data behind closed doors. Now, as founder of Quasar Markets, his mission is to pull those signals into the open so everyone can see what really moves the markets. This is Stephen E. Orr, BigBeat on Wall Street. Let's filter the future live.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. Howard's trying to get his microphone. I think he's in Chicago today. So let's get ready to go, huh? All right, we got a quick jump here now in Bitcoin here, down 93,000 here and down to almost under 92,000 here, and like in one fell swoop. 624 on the Qs here, now dropping down under 619 in less than a few minutes, as we saw Microsoft this morning lowering their AI software sales quotas as customers resist newer products. So that's from the information. That news right now is taking the markets down a little bit. We are seeing a little bit of selling here. I think it's a little silly because, quite frankly, nobody believes the information. So that's not a site that I normally listen to. So I would tell you guys just relax on that one. I think we'll push right back up. Okay, let's go. Fed futures now show a probability of 10% now of a probability of a rate cut. Welcome back, Howard. Nope, and we're now back off again. All right, we're also seeing that Macy's this morning surprised with a Wall Street cut too as well. We're seeing Macy's pushing here a little bit this morning. All right, so Howard's having some problems this morning on the technology side. Looking at Shiba, my favorite here, up 4.2%. It's still holding there, but look at that Bitcoin drop there and back up. So I think a lot of people are doing exactly what I said. I wouldn't worry too much. This is what I mean by algorithms handling and looking at the markets and getting it wrong. So when I tell people, hey, listen, your algos are wrong, this is what I mean, right? And I think the normal people are looking at this market psychology-wise and go, ooh, look at this and pushing forward. So, yep, all right, and yep. All right, and Ethereum now up almost 2% as Bitcoin dropped there a bit, but 92.2. I think we'll be back above 93,000 here soon. I think a lot of once again, I think it's a problem there with that news and data. Microsoft, according to the information, saying they're lowering their software sales quota for AI per the information. And those of us who have been in this game a long time know that we don't listen to the information. But I think that the AIs and the algorithms have done that this morning. So I'm really kind of I wouldn't be too worried about that too much. I do think that there is one number that I am concerned about, and again, that is the ADP payroll number that came out was minus 32,000. The estimate there was for a plus 40,000 estimate. But I think the problem there, and you'll see it here, and I'm looking at it now myself, is literally small business, and small business seems to be the issue here. So I am concerned about the. There we go. There we go. Push it up there for you, and hope you guys can see this. That banner. There you go. The banner now saying now down 32,000. So the chances of us getting a rate cut are pretty high now, and I think that's probably part of it. We're now seeing Nvidia now turning negative too as well on the market. I'm not really liking this news drop here. I think it's silly, to be honest with you. And now under 92,000 again here, but I'm not really concerned about this. I think that data is a little probably old and yeah, according to the information, they're now saying Microsoft is also revamping their AI agent features for Windows computers. All right, I wouldn't put a lot of faith into them. So, but I will definitely put it up there for everybody there to see. There you go. There you go. And I'm looking at Microsoft now. Let's pull up Microsoft really quickly so we can get a better bird's eye view of it. Microsoft now down 2% here on the back of that news, taking a lot of the market down here on the back of that news. Again, I'm just not concerned about that too much, because if they're having problems with their AI, then they're revamping it. Why would they do both of those things, right? So I don't know. I find that to be a little bit wonky. But 480 now on the 479.52 continuing to sell off. The stock was 492 just a couple of days ago. So Microsoft getting interesting here to me. I'm not a large Microsoft fan, but I was asked not too long ago what my thoughts were, Microsoft or with Google, and I liked Google better. But that wasn't the reason here, and I don't like this sell off here a little bit. 92, yeah, 92.1 again on. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. It's a hit piece, I think. Yeah. All right. Keeping our eyes a little tight here. Yeah. Now Doug Cass also saying. Doug Cass also saying he's a well-known bear in the market. I'll put that up too as well. He is flying off the handle again. But we'll show it. Let's see. Add the banner there. Show it. There you go. Now it says lowered expectations for how quickly it can get customers. I think it's a buy dip opportunity here in Bitcoin. Because I don't think Bitcoin has anything to do with that side of it, so I don't worry about it too much. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, we're waiting on Howard to come back here in a little bit. He should be back in a second, but he is at the floor of the Chicago Board Options Exchange right now at SIBO. We are expecting that. You know what? I'm going to pull up a chart here on this. I think it's important that we see this. Give you guys a good bird's eye view of what I'm looking at this morning here. I'll share my screen. All right, you can see here 92.2. Now we're already coming back already. Tick's already pushing back up. Oil still below the 60 handle here, $59 a barrel. VIX now 32.06, pushing up a little bit on the back of that news. But I think it's a buy. The dip there. He goes 92.3. I had a feeling that was it. That was a little bit silly for that net news there. Okay, very good. Yeah, I think the November ADP report too also probably affecting it too. Look at that. I'm right. 92,400 now as it's coming right back up. Ignore the noise. That's what we do here, right? I will say that the focus of the Trump administration, we heard that this morning, is now on robotics. I agree with that. I do like robotics. I've talked about this now for the last 4 to 6 months now. I do think robotics is big deal here. I think it's Robot C, right? ROBT. This is the ETF on robots, and I will probably start to move into buying some of this here too as well. So I do like this this ROBT. There you go. I do like this ETF a lot, and it will be one that I probably will be buying probably sometime today. Some of the extra cash that I have lying around. Bitcoin push it right back up at 92.3. We're holding a little bit, but I think we get back up to somewhere around 92.7 here real quickly, especially when we get to the open, near the open. But could have some selling going on, pressure. There's still a lot of nervousness in the market. A lot of nervousness going on in the market, and for me, that's a concern. So, yeah. All right. I will keep my eye here on the. We're starting to see a little bit of selling here. Keep my eye here on the Qs and on this, as we did see, and we'll pull that to a one-sided so that we can keep our eye on. Keep an eye on Microsoft MSFT. There we go. I will keep it on a 1-minute chart there so that we can keep our eye and see what's happening in Microsoft. But again, I wouldn't be putting too much thought process into this data coming out of the information. I'm not we know those of us in the news business, we don't really consider them to be newsworthy. All right. Okay. So I will continue to keep my eye here as we look. Tesla, another one here that I think I'm interested in. I don't agree with Michael Burry. I've said this a while now. I think that the selling in Tesla has happened, could easily get back. And you can see where my lines are on Tesla. So we'll get the charts here. 431.70. A few days ago, I liked the under 400. Now we're at 430. So guys, that's a pretty nice run from 400 to 430. So I do like that. All right. And looking at silver here. Look, guys, for those of you who know, I still like silver, but I don't like it now. I've sold, and this spinning top here has got me sold on it, right? For those of you who remember, at 54, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to sell, and I didn't sell, and we broke out of that top. But now I'm definitely selling. I've sold it all now, so I no longer own silver. And God bless you if you do, but I just don't see silver being a big winner here anymore. So, all right. U.S. industrial production here rising 0.1%. We were expecting a rise of 0.1%, so in line there. Which is what we wanted to see, right? We wanted to see this in line, and Bitcoin now, there you go, right back up. So, like, I think we get right back up to 95, 96,000, pretty simple. So, yeah. All right. Like I was asked earlier yesterday about RCL here. I'll pull up the RCL chart here as well. RCL pushing here a little bit. You can see RCL right there. I'm starting to like it again, but not quite yet. There is still that big gap to be filled. In September industrial production. If you're not thinking that we're going to cut rates, you're definitely in the wrong. We're going to cut rates, and I think you're seeing that now. I'm going to pull up I'm going to pull up a 10-second chart so that everybody can understand what we're seeing right now. Yeah. Michael Saylor, he says he is engaging with MSCI. As you know, that they were being asked earlier that they might not be included in the MSCI. I disagree with that. They'll be included, folks. Don't worry about that. Yeah, there you go. I think people are just ignoring the noise and getting right back to business here. And there he goes, 92,400. As I said, I think we'll get back to 92.6 pretty much quickly. All right, and there you go, 92.4. I'm hearing hearing Howard has trouble with his microphone. There you go, 92.5 now. Should see 92.6. If you were listening to me this morning, you ignored the noise and you bought. So congrats again if you were listening to me this morning. There it is. Right on to it. Did it. So congrats if you were listening to me this morning. That was pretty obvious what I thought was going to happen there. Yeah. And I would almost bet you that Microsoft is probably starting to come back up. It is already back up a little bit now. Now Kramer says it's very significant. Yeah. Oh, now Kramer is now saying that the information that is probably not right. That their data is probably not right. I've talked about this already in front of you, and I don't personally like the information, so I don't use it on any of my news. So be very careful out there, okay? So if you start to see that everywhere, then you'll understand. But we don't use them as news. I do though mention it because it does affect the markets, unfortunately. There you go. Keep our eye there on Bitcoin as I think we'll probably do it again here on the upside. I think people are just tired of it. I mean, there's a look, we ran pretty hard yesterday, and I do like that run yesterday. This is the 1 hour chart. Might see a little bit of a pullback, but we're already starting to see it again, right? Where we might go right back on up. I'm not too scared about this numbers here. And I don't really see much here, to be honest with you. The problem that we're seeing now is that there might be some normal news organizations now taking that as gospel truth. So I would say that somebody better call Microsoft and find out the truth of that. Yeah. All right, we'll keep our eye very tight here. Nvidia slipping a little bit, but look, I don't think that's much of a concern here. I'm going to pull up. This is a 1 hour chart here. We're underneath the line where I think where the buy was for me, and still not there. But I do like Nvidia here because Nvidia has taken that that sell off that I do like. Right, so we're starting to see a little bit more clarity in Nvidia back to the upside again. So I do like that. So let's keep our eye here on Nvidia. All right, XAG, yeah, there you go, 58.30. I think this gets back in the. Now I had a chat with a big silver dealer yesterday, and he also is sold. Won't be mentioning any names, but has also sold, but we'll be getting back in at 38, so under 40. So it looks like we're going to start seeing some sells coming in. I'm hearing pretty much that some very large organizations with very large amounts of silver is dumping as fast as they can. They're having problems dumping it because people really aren't buying it. They're having a hard time buying it up because the price is so high right now. Nobody wants to get stuck with owning lots of silver. So, all right. Disney, I think Howard asked me about Disney the other day. I'll pull Disney up. Look, I am starting to like Disney here again. We're starting to base out again, maybe push up a little bit. So you'd have to go big to do it. But, when I'm asked about the markets going into the end of the year, I'm telling everybody the same thing, right? That I still think we go sideways. I don't think we go straight up. I think we push a little bit to the upside, but we also, Bitcoin trying again here. Let's see if we can get it again. There's just a lot of weak hands right now, and it's bothered me a little bit, but I think we're okay here. We're seeing Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent now speaking. Should push the markets up, by the way, folks. If you're not thinking it that way, I really like our Secretary of Treasury. I think he's a very smart guy, and I really like what he's doing. We need to get away from tariffs, as I made a post yesterday. Tariffs are not working, as we all know. But what we know now is that I'm looking at, there you go, Boeing this morning. Yesterday we had a nice run to the upside of 10% and now holding off. So we might have hit up the daily chart. What I mean by that, there it is. Guess what we've built here in the midst of this thing, right? A big old gappy gap. And that makes me nervous there when I see those gaps. That means they got to get filled. But the buy signal came in, and I like it. So trying to keep our eye a little bit tight on what Scott Bessent is saying here. Keep our eye here on Bitcoin here as well. Says the president has a higher risk appetite than he does. Interesting. Says that Trump has normalized a 15 to 20% tariff. Says that he has evolved his thinking on tariffs. Says he has evolved his thinking on tariffs. It never worked in the past, but NASDAQ futures now down 140 points here, still slipping a bit here. Yeah. Interesting. Qs might have had their run here, but we are still. And like I said, if you've been watching and following me, I've been saying that this month will be a sideways. We're sideways. I mean, it probably slip a bit here. Still going sideways a bit. We're not really seeing much. See this market here? We're not pushing higher. We're not pushing lower. We're hot. We're near the highs anyway, right? So I just don't see anything out there that catalyst is going to push me to the upside here. Now, when the Q's got under 600, I like that a lot. And if you know, remember, I was buying. I bought heavily, but I'm just not there anymore. 620 to me was a little much, and it was a nice run, but I'm just not there anymore. All right, Bitcoin. Now, here we go. Bitcoin still pushing now. And I do expect news and people trying to push it around, but I don't see much here, to be honest with you. I think we push on higher slowly as accumulation begins to happen again. If you've got any questions out there, hit me up. I think Howard is trying to get his microphone working, but yeah. $92,500 again here on Bitcoin, and should push right above the 92.6 as the nonsense of this morning's news came out. Bicent says we could get a one-time price adjustment from tariffs. Now that I can agree with. I do like that, and as I said, I do like what he's saying. Right, I do like what Bicent is saying. I think he's a very smart. He's the adult in the room. I think that's what we all been saying in Wall Street. There you go. Boom. All right, there you go. I like that. I'll pull up Google here. Google is holding here a little bit, only down 0.41% here. I do think Google has made its run to the downside. We've seen it, as we all know, that was good old Warren Buffett's buy. This is a 1 hour chart, and so we've seen that. There's still a gap here, and it could fill it. I know that we're starting to see a little bit of that pullback a little bit, but not quite there yet. Microsoft, after this run down 2.65%, might actually be what I'm looking for here. That gap, look at that, folks. If you're asking me about it right now, is Microsoft a buy here? Look, I don't tell anybody what to buy or sell. It's not what I do, but I do like it down here, actually. I think it's had a nice little sell-off here, and I think it's exacerbated a bit. Stupid. And I think the gap has been filled now. So that is interesting. If you're a technical analysis person, now there you go. You've got your technical analysis. Now, could it go a little bit further to the downside? Maybe. But, and of course, there's still another bigger gap back here to fill, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that's the case. Yeah. The Polish bank has now cut their key rate by 25 basis points to 4% now, but that was expected. So, yeah. Yeah. Bicent says the tariffs have not set off inflationary mindset. Disagree with that. Mindset for sure. But I will say that in this case, when he's talking about it, obviously this is secretary, so we'll see what the Fed has to say about that too. 92.5 again now on Bitcoin, 92.6. Look, I think we'll get back 93,000 today. I think it goes right on up, but we'll see. NVIDIA. I kind of like this move here in NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA could push up again. Remember this last week when it sold off. We're getting very close to a buy signal here in the MACD Ultimate pretty soon for an NVIDIA run here. All right, Bicent says he's talking a lot here this morning at Andrew Sorkin's deal book this morning. I'll post what he's saying here. Says Supreme Court needs to be prudent about undoing some of Trump's tariffs. I think that the Supreme Court no longer is on Trump's team right now, so we'll keep our eye on that for sure. But so far, not really. Yeah. Ethereum really trying here this morning. Could we get back to the 4,000 handle here? That's 4,000's up here. Maybe. You know, when it got to about close to 5,000 up in here, I just was like, no, I don't like it up here at all. Ethereum could be an interesting play here, actually. I think there's a good move here. Could be to the upside here, as there's no gaps. I do like Ethereum here, probably better than I like Bitcoin here, actually. I did like Solana, for those of you new, at 120. Now we're at 140. Nice move to the upside for sure. Bitcoin again. I'll keep our eye on Bitcoin. There it is, 92.5. We're still again we're bouncing pretty heavy. All right, we are now open, and I am not seeing much of a move here to the upside. We'll see. Here's the Qs. Q's not saying anything to me. Nvidia slipping a bit. Obviously Microsoft. Yeah, like I said, I thought Microsoft could be a buy here, actually. And I think that's probably what I'm going to look to buy here a little bit. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to buy Microsoft. So I think that's a silly move to the downside. All right, I'm going to get into Microsoft now. And Microsoft, yes, I'm in Microsoft, 478.54 now. So we'll see if I'm right later today, and I will keep this up and running. And I probably will just stay long here for all day long. So there we go, 178. Probably take a few dollars out of this thing as it goes to the upside. There you go. There we go, folks. If you're listening to me this morning, I think we're good to go. There we go. Wow, I could take some money off of this already. I had a pretty good move here. But I think I'm gonna stay long here. I'm gonna stay long. I'm not gonna touch this thing. I'm gonna stay long here. I think we got a pretty good opportunity here to move to the upside now on this. I think that the selling was a little premature and done, and I'm gonna stay long. I kind of like this move here. So there we go, 479. If we can break above this, we'll probably push right on up, and 479.25. If we can get above that, I think we'll be a happy campers, and I think you'll see a lot of the market buyers, movers here. That the buy side here. Oh, look at this. We could, maybe not. We'll see. I'm gonna keep my eye on this. I like this move here. I like this buy here a lot. I think we've got a good opportunity here to see a nice little move. Take a couple bucks out of this easily. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that are, yeah, here we go. Come on. There we go. There's 479. There's 71. If it goes a little bit more here, those of you who are already in, we'll see. Still some sellers in there. I don't know that I like the sellers, and there are probably some zero DTEs that are probably playing around. So what? I don't care. They're not the ones making the move in the markets here today. So get another pop here, the upside. Real buyers in here, real institutional buyers love this kind of sell off on the silly news. So this is when they come in, they buy, and they enjoy it, and they hold it because they know they're going to get more than just a few dollars out of it. So yeah. All right, a little bit of selling there. Still some sellers, and they're trying to push it down. I don't think they're going to get it though. All right, keeping going on a little bit longer here. We'll keep our eye on it. We will not be taking our eye off of it here, as we still see. Not too worried about it. Yeah. Okay, maybe I am. No, I'm not. All right, and Bitcoin slipping a little bit. Qs 620 there. Keep our eyes on the Qs too as well. I might actually I'm going to do it again. You buy a little bit more there, Microsoft, on this. I think I like this. I'm going to buy more Microsoft here down here. And I have bought a little bit more Microsoft down here. Yeah, I have. And I'm just redoing my orders here, cleaning them up a bit. But I do like this here to the upside a little bit. There we go. I like this. This is good. So this is what I mean by buying on these little dips. We tried this down this morning. Now we might. There was a little bit, but down 2.5% on Microsoft in the morning. I like this. So I don't know why people want to sell this morning. I think it's kind of silly, to be honest with you. I think they're wrong on this. Basent says that inflation rates are higher in blue cities. Making it political again. There we go. If we pop up a little bit more here on this, we could see some serious fun stuff here. All right, and pretty much flat right now. I think we'll see some interesting on Microsoft here. Bitcoin starting to push again back to the upside, 92.5 again. I really like this Bitcoin move here. I think those of you who are interested in Bitcoin looking pretty good here a little bit. Yeah. It's trying to go right back up. You can see where it's now trading quite heavily here in this band. But yeah. Not really seeing much now on Microsoft. Could see the push to the upside here a little bit. We do need to see some buyers coming in. I mean, right now we're at 3.82 million shares trading hands, so quite a bit. Scott Bassett now pushing again, saying some of the economy sectors have weakened and we want to see rate cuts. So agreed with that. And we will. We're going to see rate cuts. I mean, the Fed will cut rates in December here next week, and I don't see anything different than that. Bitcoin now 92.7 now. Pretty much exactly what I kind of said this morning. If you've been following this morning, we're crushing it this morning. So I'm really liking this. All right. Yeah, and Basent now says he's very optimistic about the economy next year. Says CapEx is way up. All right. Agreed with him. Yeah, I agree with him. Yeah, I do think next year. But I think the economy is very weak right now. I think he's wrong in that aspect. He's saying certain sectors. I would disagree. Like the only sector that's really done well is AI, has been holding everything up, right? And right now we're starting to see cracks in that. So but I think we're way out of it. Yeah. Basent says China is reaching correct cadence to complete its promised U.S. soybean purchase there. So okay, I like that. They're going to have to really catch up. They're way behind. For those of you who don't know, they made a big promise of 9 million, 12 million bushels, and they've only hit 3 million. They need another 9 million to catch up. So they're not quite there yet, and that's what normally China does, right? They say they talk big and then back off. So it kind of reminds me of someone else. But all right. Could see a pop here, and look at this Microsoft move here. Could be. I'm starting to feel like, okay, let's flip a 1 hour chart so we kind of get a better feel here. Yeah, not quite there yet. Pull up a 3 minute chart, which is what Wall Street uses. Yeah, there you go. There's your answer. Starting to base a bit, and yeah, looky here. I like this move a lot. Could see a push to the upside here. And for those of you who are playing at home and listen to me, look at that, 92,800. We're almost back to 93,000. I said we'd be back at 93,000 probably before the look at this, already back, buying the dip on. Look at that. How much fun has that been? We helped you understand that the information is not a place to listen to, and they were wrong, and you made money if you bought with me on this one. So now we're just gonna get the MSFT deal here done for us, and we're almost there. Look at that, now pushing. See, I'm telling you, a 3 minute chart is what Wall Street looks at. We can get this popping up just a little bit here. I think we'll all be happy campers here. I think Bitcoin now 93.1. So that was about right where I thought we would get back to. So well done. A little bit of weakness in Microsoft still. Not showing it yet. We'll get to it. Still not quite there in the 3 minute chart. All right. Canada Services PMI now comes in at 44.3 versus 50.5 last month. So their PMI still slipping here. There we go. Pull that up for you all. Yeah, that's probably not good. That's probably really bad. And for those of you who are playing at home, 93,500 now on Bitcoin here as we continue to push higher. We could hit 94,000 if this continues, breaking all of those things right off the charts here. Microsoft testing that low again of the day and didn't get to it. So, and we're now at 4.69 million shares now trading hands. So keeping our eye here still, not too concerned. Bitcoin could hold the markets up today a little bit. I'm loving all the numbers coming in quite heavily here for all of us. Thank you. Appreciate that. Those of you click subscribe and like and all that. We're crushing it here. And hopefully get a win out of this Microsoft move for the end of the hour. But I will be holding it. I'm not too concerned about this. I do like this move here on Microsoft. Probably the 10 o'clock hour probably give us the win at our sales that we need. But 93.6 now on Bitcoin here as we continue to push higher. Yay, yay, yay. For those of you who are very nervous about Bitcoin over the last couple of days, I was not. For those of you who know, I was buying quite heavily. And yay, wow. Okay. Oh my. Yes. Continue to push here. Yeah, back to 477 now on Microsoft. Let's see us get back up and make a move here. There is some selling at 94,000 on Bitcoin. There is a wall there, but they've been breaking the walls pretty heavily over the last few days, so it really has not been making me nervous there. Not at all. Yeah. Another the day has gone by where Kramer was saying he hated Bitcoin, and now we've had straight up days since then. So hopefully he says it again today. I like Jim, by the way, personally. He's a great guy. NVIDIA, as we talked about, another one here that's holding down here, only down 1%. If we could get the Qs to turn around just a bit, see some buyers stepping back in, we could see some push back up. Yeah. And 93.3 now on Bitcoin as some sellers have started. There you go. There's the Qs for you. There you go. Come on, Qs. There's your green signal now on the 3-minute chart for the buy signal there. So we could see a pop here in Microsoft now. That's what Wall Street looks at when looking at trading here. So we could see a nice little pop. We've seen the green signal here for us. I do like this. Like here, we could see a pop to the upside. Yep. See some movement here. Need the Qs to also cooperate. Qs are cooperating. 619.57 now. Yeah, I'm liking this. Bitcoin not cooperating now to the downside as the selling begins to pick up once more here. But this is where we're at, right? I mean, the algos and the high frequency traders are still doing their thing. So, okay. S&P Global U.S. Services PMI coming at 54.1 versus 55. So Services PMI now telling you that we're going to get a rate cut. I mean, it's coming. So I don't know what this news is going that we're not getting a rate cut, because we're definitely getting a rate cut. But I tell everybody the same thing. Be careful what you wish for. You want a rate cut, you're going to get it. But we don't. Sometimes the rate cuts are for a wrong reason, because job losses and I mean, there's a lot of reasons here why we get the rate cut. Can't buy a house, can't buy a car, it's too expensive, right? So there's some reasons why, but I kind of like this. But the services PMI coming out at 54.1 is still expansion. It's not contraction here, so it is expansion. Yeah. Starting to see a little bit of movement to the upside. Bessent says Biden administration failed to de-risk with China. Okay. All right, Steve Flanagan coming in early. We all love Steve Flanagan. I'm gonna bring Steve Flanagan in right now. Steve Flanagan, service PMI coming in a little lighter than expected. Talk to me, man. What you seeing?
Yeah, these numbers that are coming out, Steve. We've seen cap utilization, industrial, all for September, but kind of taking the market here that hey, everything wasn't falling apart. Now we're catching up with these numbers. So the fact that they're not cratering, showing the downside, I think is, a good supporting point to the marketplace. I'm, hearing you, fading this move. I couldn't agree more that this is a good opportunity to load up. The dollar index is off sharply. People were talking about the yen carry trade, but we highlighted this on Monday. And it's not the yen carry trade. This is threading the needle. You know,
What do you say, Steve? And I've been saying this for a while, that you would think by now that the regular news would catch up with us, right?
Yeah.
Why are we so far ahead of everybody else, in understanding the markets before everybody else is understanding it? Why does it seem that all of a sudden, you know, when we were buying Palantir at 35 and we were dumping it at over 200, why are we ahead of the game? And why can't the Fed? Why can't normal news? Why are they missing the boat on all of this stuff?
You know, if we want to specifically talk Fed, or let's talk marketplace, I think a lot of people have gotten themselves wired into trading off of these headlines as if this is the new norm. This is what's going to happen. And what they're missing is the ability to rise your head above the tree level and make sure you're focusing on the horizon. Specifically, when we talk about the Fed, they're using antiquated models. They're still preoccupied with this unemployment number, which, you know, let me explain quickly. If you work 1 hour, you're considered employed. If you're making $25,000 or less, you're considered full employed. If you're in a job where they're creating you to work part-time when you want to work full-time, you're considered full employed. So this employment number that they keep saying the labor market's strong, it's not capturing anything. It's just it's a 1960 style economic indicator. It's not reflective of where the markets and the economy is today. And too many of us trading are seeing the Microsoft headline and then bam, that's it, the top is in. Or seeing Oracle stepping into a debt market to finance a future that they see very clearly, but everybody's saying, this debt in financing, no good. Everybody has become short term. And
and you and I couldn't agree more on this. Honestly, I think we're so in cahoots on this one. What do we need to do, Steve, in order to help those people understand that this market isn't what they think it is?
So let's use that, Steve. So we all know I talk about quantum convergence. I talk about how all these pieces are coming together to set the stage for this future. That's an investor. An investor kind of looks out over what you are doing, Steve, with Quasar Markets is you're providing details, you're providing the vision, you're reporting on what's going on today, right now, right this moment, but you're constantly referring back to the opportunity. This downturn we saw in November is really a fear factor. Emotions are the worst part of a trading market and worst part of a decision making. And what you've been highlighting, Steve, I'm not, throwing kudos at you here, but, August and September, you were saying it's looking toppy, a lot of froth in the market. And then you get this move in November and you've been pretty firm about saying, I'm stepping in. That is the type of vision that you need to have. You need to be looking at these moves as opportunistic moves. Is it going to go away? Okay. Is the market going to dump and just disintegrate 25, 50% down? All right. Well, you got to have a little faith. My father would always say to me, long rest his soul, he would say, do you believe in the system that we're in? Is the United States making changes that have long-lasting benefits? Well, if you can answer yes, then you look at these downturns as this is where I want to get in to build for that.
All right, but if we went political on this, Democrats are saying that the economy is definitely going in the wrong direction. Independents are saying that we're going in the wrong direction. Republicans say, I'm not sure yet. You're saying that we're going the right direction. And you know what? And I don't think anybody here knows. I am somewhat of a Democrat, but I'm very independent. I will say that I like some of these Trump plays that he's making. I don't like tariffs. Everybody knows I don't like tariffs. So for using your philosophy, Steve, saying, do I see good future? Yeah, I do, but I don't think it's because of the policies of the administration. I think it's because technology is moving so great, and the administration is getting out of the way of technology companies and offering them the opportunity to be able to make their own future.
I also would say I'm an independent.
Yeah.
But I am very pro what this administration is doing. You call it getting out of the way. I can endorse that. Sure. Okay, getting out of the way. But as opposed to our typical government that lumbers in front of the move and kind of stalls it, creates regulation, and makes it virtually impossible. So, okay, they're getting out of the way. I see that as a very positive thing. They're involving themselves in stablecoin. I see that as a very positive thing.
And I like this new thing with I don't like the fact they're calling it Trump accounts for kids, but I do like this thing with helping kids get that first $1,000, put it in their account. I agree with that. That, by the way, that's socialism. Government giving away to the kids money. That's socialism. So those of you who don't like socialism, you're pretty much living in it. I like that. And you know what? Giving the parents an opportunity to put, I think up to $5,000 a month into these accounts for kids. I think this is great. Creating a new super investor that giving the kid the money at 18 years old is probably the dumbest thing ever. But I think they should have some kind of guardrails. I think they will by that time. I think they're still sussing it out. They're not quite there yet, and the bill hasn't gone. But I like that. That's a good move on the administration to help new kids coming in. But I don't think it should be just for the next 3 years. I think it should be a permanent situation. When FDR came out with Social Security, I mean, the majority of people that are over the age of 65 now are relying on Social Security. It's a norm. But back then, the day, it almost didn't pass, right? And what we have today, so when you talk about looking forward to the future, are we seeing a future that we like living in? I kind of agree that I do. I do like living in this future. I don't see the dystopian future that Netflix and Apple and all these companies are putting out in science fiction, right?
Yep.
I agree with this, Steve. But how do we show people to get out of the news cycle craziness and get into thinking about theses and pushing forward?
Well, the thesis, you've always said you have to have a thesis. If you are going to trade, you have to have a thesis. If you want to just be a follower, then you're in and out, in and out, in and out. And at the end of the day, you say, hey, I made $2,000. What a fantastic day, in and out, without a view, without anything. That's great. If you can maintain that pace for a year, let alone 5 years, good luck. I was in that.
You do that, Steve, you're hired at JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. You don't even need to put a resume in. They'll just hire you on the spot, right? Because the new numbers came out this morning that 80 to 90% of traders lose money in the markets, and they're right at it, right? And that's why I'm trying to get people to change that philosophy and get them to start to invest. And that's why I'm saying I like this move by the administration to get them to invest.
Steve, when you start talking about building safety nets, I mean, okay, socialism because but then when you see the tremendous amount of Michael Dell and his wife stepping in and putting their own money to feed this. This is what American spirit is all about.
They made money and they're putting it back in the future of our country. I don't care. I don't like it's called Trump accounts, whatever it's called. I don't like that. I don't like Obama healthcare. I don't like any of that. I don't like Clinton, whatever. I don't like any of that. They got hired to do a job, right? But I love this. Michael Dell is stepping up. And here's what Michael Dell did. And I love that you brought this up. He's not just saying I'm putting in $6.5 billion. He's saying I'm going to put it in areas that are underserved to help them also do their thing. It's equating to about $250 per account. I love that. That is the kind of thing that we need to see. If the Elon Musks and the Mark Zuckerbergs and Jeff Bezos of the world, and in this case, Michael Dell, who's Dell Computers, is doing this, I like this. I agree with this, Steve. This is what they should be doing.
Yeah, and I think the next big thing that you'll see from at least what I would like to see the administration do is I would like to see this, government and business more official at helping people move and transition from any job losses.
That's what they got hired to do.
That's right. This is what the government is great at being able to do. Orchestrate these macro themes through our society to help Americans. A great nation needs to have a great support system for its people. Otherwise, what is it? You're making money while everybody else isn't? What sort of system is
But
that?
that's what's happening right now. People, and I'm arguing about it now, that the K economy is in full swing right now.
The greatest, I think we're at the highest level of the haves and have-nots ever, and that typically leads to unrest. It must be addressed. And I would, strongly urge that be the January. Remember, things are happening at such incredible speed that we lose sight of the fact that this administration hasn't even been in office for a year yet. But yet we feel as if, wow, this isn't working.
Yeah, he's been in office, but he's also got a full Congress to his backing, and he got all the people that he wanted, except for Alina Habiba, who wasn't even qualified. He's got pretty much the team that he wanted. Yeah, Steve. I mean, this is a guy who said I can solve the wars in one day. He's created more and started another two. So, to say that he's not quite, I don't agree with that, Steve. I think he's had the administration he wants, and he's not getting it done. They patted themselves in the back in the last meeting. But I don't.
Let's take Steve. 2 months ago, I think he had a record number of sub-cabinet levels approved. Finally, they just blanketed them.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And then you had a government closure forced over what? I'm not sure what that reason was.
Nobody does.
So yeah, but there's been a tremendous amount of obstruction in front of that. But anyway, the point is, I think in January at the State of the Union, I think you're going to see a path laid out now that one of the points I wanted to be talking about, the dollar index is lower today. Well, guess what? We just announced that it looks like Hassett's going to be the Fed chairman, which means you probably got.
Yeah, so you do think Hassett's going to be the chair, right? Correct?
Well, that seems to be the way, they're going to push this. But either way, Steve, you're going to get a lower rate Fed chairman. So, of course, the dollar is going to go lower because interest rates is what, moves currencies.
Still need the Fed to come together, right? So you've got two members he knows is in his pocket. Another two is probably in his pocket. What do you think? Are we cutting in here in looks like 8 days?
Well, I mean, I think the numbers are pretty much clearly indicating that we need to. The unemployment figures, we won't get that. Funny how we're not going to get that report until after the Fed meeting. But I think the ADP report was weaker again. So, I mean, why can't we get a 0.25% cut just to make sure that things are going okay? If we looked at the recent inflation numbers, it's still benign and coming down. People talking about inflation and the cost of everything. You got to understand, you had a 9% impact, close to 10% on pricing. It doesn't go away.
Right.
It stays. Since that period, inflation has been incredibly moderate and restrained. So if the Fed is thinking that they're going to knock out the 9% that was given, that ain't happening. It's here to stay, and we're just getting used to this new, level that we're operating at. I'm very positive, Steve. There's been so many negatives, as I highlighted. Walk into a dark room, throw a dart, you will hit a negative balloon.
Honestly, I think the negativity is very high right now, higher than you think.
Still very high, and I think in that case, I always like to tell Howard, I want to slip to the other side of the boat because everybody's on the left. I want to try the right side of the boat to fish and drop my line in because nobody's there. I want to be there before everybody else because when the herd comes in, as you say, you want to be the ticket taker. That's when I want to step back and just let it ride.
Is this a trading time to be the contrarian again? I mean, I am a contrarian. I mean, I think people are too negative now, where I think I'm being a little bit more positive than normal. Whereas when the market was really high, it was very negative. I think it was too high because the earnings weren't catching up. But the negativity is pretty high right now in the social media world.
Absolutely. And so what type of positives can we have? One, geopolitical. We could see maybe a Russia-Ukraine solve, on again, off again. The market is so anesthetized to the subject. Now it will have an impact. That's one. Two, shortly, we've had 6 rounds of completed talks with India. And if you look at the Indian rupee trading today as a high of 90.30, historical high, that's a weakening rupee. What does that mean? If you look from the May low when these trade negotiations with India started, it was at 83.75. So you've got roughly a 7-8% move in the Indian rupee, which is offsetting the tariffs. I would expect India and the United States to be concluding a trade agreement very, very shortly. That would mean through somewhere by the first 2 weeks of December. I've been waiting for this, but
yeah, you have been. So I was getting ready to ask you that because you have been waiting for this, Steve, quite heavily. Okay, all right, I can see that.
That's probably a massive. What does it mean? It means a massive stimulus to trade between the two countries.
Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary, right now says that tariffs are not to be blamed for job losses.
Well, I'm kind of on the fence on that one. I don't think I wouldn't put my finger on the sole reason of tariff.
He says that its weak job numbers are about the shutdown and deportations.
Okay, another factor, but you could also say technology as well, as people. Business is not going to wait. If they see the technology productivity gains, they are very rapidly going to move to reducing their number one cost, their workforce.
Right. He predicts now the GDP will be over 4% in 2026.
Okay, well, there goes deficit to GDP. That's dropping even further. And that's another massive positive, because when you talk to Johnny on the street right now, they're going to tell you the deficit, and
maybe he should stop talking because the market's falling on his words right now. I don't think the market believes him at all.
Yeah, well, he should stick. He's a commerce secretary. He's been doing a great job at commerce, but we don't need economic talk out of him. And they've got to stay focused, because this is what I talk about on the short-sightedness of the market. We're going to react to each and every headline. As an investor, you need to look at this as opportunities to step in and say, okay, if they're going to sell the market off based on that, I'm going to wait for that opportune level. As soon as I see a base coming in, boom, I'm stepping in.
It says that there are idiosyncrasies in October due to the shutdown. Yeah. I mean, I like Howard. Howard's a good guy. I mean, I've known him a long time and his companies, but Cantor. But okay, wow. The market is not liking what he's having he's talking about. It is selling off here.
Yep. So some of the things we got to look out here. We got the Friday. We have the Canadian job report coming out. Why is that big? Because the following week, the Bank of Canada meets. You get a bad report Friday. Expect another cut in Canada from 2.25% to 2%. That's not in the cards right now, so it really will be a big vision. If we see a weak Canada number, one can maybe extrapolate that the U.S. number is not going to be a gangbuster either. Either way, Steve, I think we set up for lower rates around the world. What's interesting in Europe, you've got ECB Nagel. I almost did a backflip on this one. I couldn't believe it. He said the German economy is expected to probably grow more than 1% in 2027. They're growing at 0. They're minus 0.5, the most recent number. Are we like saying that, hey, people in Germany, guess what? Next year, don't expect much. I mean, and then they say they're not going to lower rates. This is mind-boggling that people could talk like this. Growth is the answer, and growth-oriented policies throughout the world is the solution to the problems. Get on with it and start moving rates.
Yeah. Well, there's a political issue to this, right? I mean, it's the United States versus the rest of the world, according to Trump, right? So are you going to see the rest of the world cutting rates too?
They have been, Steve. Europe's at 2%. Switzerland's at 0. China is at 3.3% roughly. They need to cut. I mean, because they're in a real serious deflationary, stagflation environment. Japan is at 0.5%. Maybe they're going to raise in 2 weeks to 0.75. But Canada's at 2.25. So the world is lowering rates, has been. It's right. The Fed and the Bank of England, and the Bank of England is in a real tough spot right now.
Yeah, they're hurting.
You may see them go 0.5% on the next move. So, I think the Fed is an obstructionist right now at a very restrictive interest rate of 4% when the economy is got an inflation rate minus.
Howard Lutnick now says they're going to win the Supreme Court tariff case. That is pushing the markets up here a little bit. Sorry about that.
I think that what you'll see is a 5-4 with Justice Roberts coming in and being the deciding votes, and then he writes the narrative at the end of it. And you know what? He's going to say, this would be my interpretation, because this guy loves the middle of the road. He realizes if they knock this down, it's going to be a very destabilizing effect to the economy at this point. So he'll come out and give the president what he wants. You can do your tariffs, but he's going to urge Congress to rewrite your law to, rein in the executive branch. And then it goes back to Congress.
As always, Steve Flanagan, you are the voice of reason around here. I love it. And putting that 42 years of knowledge into bite sizes, we can understand it. Thank you so much, Steve. And for those of us at Quasar Markets, we'll see you right back here tomorrow morning.